here we go.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for a workshop on internships titled Interning as International Students. My name is Jacqueline Javier, and I am really lucky to be with a few of my colleagues here who helped make this work a possibility at PCC, which is Isabel Ochoa, who is our internship advisor, part of the WorkBased Learning team, and also Dr. Kimberly Shiriak, who is a business faculty, and she is also our amazing internship course faculty lead and is here to really talk a little bit more about what these internship courses look like, how you can get enrolled, and what documentation is needed to get that process approved. You will also see a picture here of another team member of ours who is Stephanie Lopez. She is our intermediate clerk for WorkBased Learning, and she will likely be your lead contact moving forward for anything internship related as far as developing resumes. If you are interested in meeting with Isabel to talk about how you can search for internships, we're going to talk a little bit today about how you can communicate with Stephanie so that she can book you an appointment as soon as possible. So it's really exciting for us to be here today and present information and different services that we provide to help you get connected with industry and careers. And I realized that I actually introduced myself and I failed to say what I do. But my name is Jacqueline Javier, and I am the program manager for WorkBased Learning. Have been in this role for a little over a year, and I'm really excited that I have all this amazing team to work with and be able to help students through the internship process. So some of you may or may not know the Freemen Center at PCC. And so I thought that this would be a really good opportunity to just share some graphics of where are we located and what does the inside of our facility look like. The WorkBased Learning team, which is essentially this team that is here today, we are part of the Robert G. Freeman Center for Career and Completion, which is the Career Center at Pasadena City College, and it is located in the building IT 200. So right by the tennis courts, if you've ever been on our campus. And on the right here, you're going to see two different pictures. The top right one is a picture of our front lobby. So when you do enter the Career Center, that's the first sort of like set of tables that you see. You would just walk straight across and do a check-in for an appointment or for a workshop. And then the bottom right picture is a picture of our lab area. And this is a space that is really flexible, and we move it around for workshops. Sometimes we host career panels in this space, and other times we actually provide mock interviewing for students. So unfortunately, right now, we are still remote and we're still delivering our services entirely online, but hopefully sometime in the near future, we can be back on campus and you can come and visit us at the Freemen Center. One other thing that I will share about the Freeman Center is that our team is actually pretty big. So the people who are here today talking about internships, we are the WorkBased Learning team. But in addition to us, the Freeman Center has an entire team of career advisors, career counselors, and job developers. So if you're looking at developing your resume, building a cover letter, or preparing for an interview, the Freeman Center team is here to help you. So I'm actually going to share with you a little bit about the website towards the end of the presentation, but I wanted to share these images with you in case you haven't been at our center in person. So a little bit about work-based learning. Work-based learning is a brand new term to our college. I think that it started to get promoted probably 2 to 3 years ago. But now that we have a team that's established, I realize it's a really good opportunity for me to share more information on what this terminology means, because you will be seeing it on our website. You're going to be seeing this on our marketing materials. And then eventually when you go on campus, you might be seeing some flyers that say work-based learning on them. And so this is a really fancy definition that is posted online, but essentially what it means is that work-based learning is any experience that a student has where they're interacting with an industry professional. And so as you can imagine, it's a very broad term and it incorporates so many different activities, so many different levels of engagement. But just know that if you're attending a career panel or if you are currently doing like field work experiences and you're interacting with professionals, that's considered work-based learning. And the more work-based learning that you gain, the more competitive you become for your future job, or if you're already in a career, work-based learning helps you advance within that career. So hopefully that makes a little bit more sense than this long definition. So to kind of highlight a little bit more of like the different activities that fall under this, I'm going to pass this over to Isabel, and she's going to talk a little bit about career awareness.
Oh, I was muted. Thanks, Jackie. Hi, everyone. Let's get started here. And I think actually, Jackie, I might need your help clicking through with our first little section here. So what I'm going to talk to you about is a little bit of career development and some activities that we can do to explore our major and our career, right? So our first level of development is going to be just knowing about what careers are out there, right? Developing some career awareness. And we can do this as simple as engaging with guest speakers, career panels, and career fairs at the PCC Freeman Career Center. So sometimes the guest speakers we have are hosted in our center. This semester, everything's going to be online, like Jackie said, on Zoom. And sometimes they'll be in class. So whenever you hear like, oh, we're going to have a panel, a workshop, whether that be through class, through community events, through us at the Freemen Center, there likely will be a guest speaker there or guest speakers, so more than one. And it's really awesome to come and listen to them because they have years of experience that you might be able to relate to and have a lot of insight for the industries that you might be interested in. So not only will you be learning from the academics, but you'll be learning from real life experience. The other two are career fairs, which we'll be having in November, and we'll share more information. But career fairs are a really great way to engage with employers. You'll have a variety of different opportunities to visit different sessions this November and hear about what employers are looking for interns and different job candidates. And finally, informational interviews. Now, the terms that we'll be talking about like this one today are gonna get a little bit technical, but that's okay. If you have questions about the terms, what they mean, how you can engage in them, that's what we're here for, right? Part of our responsibility is to make sure that you are familiar with all of the technicalities of the career development process. So just to give you a little sneak peek, informational interviews is pretty much you taking an employer or a professional to virtual coffee, like I like to call it, and just asking them about what they do. How did they get there, and so on and so forth. Our next one is going to be career exploration. So these go hand in hand. And as you're seeing here, the two arrows are kind of starting to overlap, right? We can develop each of these areas at the same time or on their own, depending on how interested, how much time we have in developing these different areas, right? So maybe we meet a guest speaker, we connect with them for an informational interview, and our next step is going to be to get some exposure hands-on to that work, right? So we might do that through job shadowing, which is observing a professional for maybe a day or half a day, mentorship opportunities, and really building that relationship with the person you connected with. You might be able to do an industry tour where you go on site to the company's location and kind of observe different aspects of that organization, or also visiting conferences. So you might have specific professional development conferences, student conferences, different opportunities to connect with different folks.
I'm going to talk a little bit about the other two phases of this work-based learning model. So once you've engaged in some career awareness and career exploration, you may want to do a little bit more of the career preparation piece. And this is described as, any experience where you're learning through work. So some examples of this could be volunteering, participating in different competitions. Like I know at PCC, we're in the process of promoting a business plan competition in collaboration with some business faculty. I believe Dr. Kimberly Shediak, are you involved in that? You are involved, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, so the business plan competition is an opportunity for students who are, aspiring entrepreneurs or business majors to really just develop a project and compete with other business majors and other community colleges. And so this is the very first competition that's happening at PCC. But if this is something that interests you, definitely let us know, either Dr. Kimberly Shediak or ourselves, and we can get you connected for a future competition. Since right now, I think that it's a little too late in the process, but many will be coming our way. And then project-based learning, this is more curriculum focused. And so if you're ever a part of a course where your faculty is asking you to develop a project that addresses a real world problem, and you're having to do research that is, real world research, it's not hypothetical, this is another experience where you can really start to develop some skill sets that are needed for the workforce. And then lastly, it's the mock interviewing. These are really popular in the Career Center. So the Freemen Center team facilitates these at different times of the year. Usually it's right after job fairs or the internship fairs to help students prepare for their interviews. But we also work really closely with different programs to try to tailor mock interviewing for their programs. So a good example of this is our nursing program, where as they're nearing the end of their program, we place mock interviewing day in preparation for application season, and hopefully helping to prepare our students to land a job and then transition to their careers when they complete their programs. So if you're ever in the process of preparing for an interview, let us know. You don't have to wait for an event, is what I'm trying to say. So if you're preparing for an interview, let us know. We are happy to coordinate a one-on-one mock interview or maybe a group mock interview. Ideally, we want to be able to mirror what your interview is going to look like. So once we see that information, we will do our best to replicate that scenario for you. And then the last phase here is the career training piece. And this is learning at work. And it usually involves a longer period of time commitment. So you're talking about your internships, which are typically anywhere from 8 weeks to 16 weeks, depending on the organization and the time of the year. And then you have apprenticeship programs, which are programs that are provided by your college. Clinical experiences are something that are part of health-related health science programs, such as nursing, or if you were, phlebotomy program, things like that. And then the last one here is work experiences. Work experiences and internships are probably our two most popular career training experiences at the Career Center, because these are things that are not automatically a part of a course, at least not all the time. So if a course is designed to give you experience, usually it's in the form of a field work experience or a clinical experience. But if you were someone who is looking for a job or an internship, then usually those are the students that we get at the Career Center for additional resources and support. So I know this is a lot of information to kind of throw at all of you, especially with work-based learning being such a new term. But if if any of these activities kind of pop out to you, you want to learn a little bit more about them, I encourage you to just jot it down. And then when we connect after this workshop, you can let us know, right? Like, hey, I'm really interested in these 2 activities or these 3 activities. How can I, get involved. We will guide you through that process. So I do know that this is a really big menu, and that could be a little tough, but there's always something for everybody. That's the great news. So no matter where you are in your career development, maybe you're someone that already has a lot of experience or even other degrees, you may not need to engage in career awareness or career exploration, but maybe you're ready for career training. So we'll help you make those decisions. As Isabel said earlier, our goal is to help you, deliver as much information and resources to you as possible. So regarding career advising and counseling, I know that last Tuesday a presentation was held. So I know that the presentation was held, right? They talked very in depth about advising and counseling. But the great news is Isabel is actually a counselor, so we can leverage her knowledge here, and she could just recap a few items.
Yeah, thanks, Jackie. So as we kind of talked about, you can do all of those things simultaneously. You can start with exposure to work training, and it's kind of similar in the career advising and counseling process, right? So it just kind of depends on where you are in this process. You can bounce around from the different topics, but typically we start with a career counseling process with identifying potential career paths. So that means, for example, I want to major in business. Okay, great. Well, what do you want to do with that? I'm not sure what's out there. So in career counseling, you can explore that a little bit more and identify different career paths that might be out there that we can use your major with. From there, we get to make informed decisions because we're doing the research. What really does the job entail? What salary could I potentially make? Could I travel with this degree? How transferable is it? So we get to do more of that reflective work to align ourselves to those careers. And that brings me to my next point, which is identifying your skills, strengths, and interests. Now, out of all of the ones we'll talk about, this is definitely the most foundational one, right? And by identifying your skills, strengths, and interests, we'll be able to craft really intentional cover letters, really intentional and tailored resumes. We'll be able to help you connect better with the professionals that you'll talk to when you're job shadowing or when you're at a career fair, right? We'll be able to really make well-informed decisions like I've talked about. From there, while we're building your strong resumes and cover letters, we'll really get to identify a little bit more of what it is that we want out of the job. What do we want and expect from this job description that we're reading when we're applying? So that way we can perform better in an interview, whether that be over the phone, a virtual interview, or in person when we get there again, right? So hopefully all of these steps that you'll take will mean that you'll get to benefit more from the internship experience, from the job shadowing experience, from an apprenticeship, whatever capacity it is that you're learning. By identifying some of these things that are important to us and make us unique candidates, whether that be, like Jackie mentioned, previous experiences, degrees, our experiences traveling abroad to different countries, or just being from a different country already makes us a unique candidate. We just need to figure out how we can apply that uniqueness to the job and internship search process.
Awesome. Couldn't have said it any better. Thank you, Isabel.
Sure.
And so, like we said, this is really like the step 0, right? If we look at the checklist that is provided by the International Student Center, before you start to apply or search for internships, you really want to make sure that these foundational steps are all checklisted, because it will really help your internship search process be a lot more smoother. And like with any job, every time we meet with students, right, we know that it can build up a lot of you know, it's a long journey. Anytime you're applying to a job or an internship, it's a long journey. But the great news is that at the Freeman Center, it's almost like a one-stop shop. So maybe you're talking to us about potential internship programs that you want to apply for next summer, but then at the same time, you're working with an advisor on building your resume, developing a cover letter writing. So you don't have to wait until one thing is complete to get started on the next. There's actually a way to you know, work on multiple projects at the same time. And I actually encourage that, because with internships, you always need, you typically need to start searching a good 3-4 months in advance. So for those of you who are thinking about maybe doing an internship in the winter or in the spring, now is a good time to get connected with us so that we can try to provide you the most support and as many resources as possible. And then this leads me to the next slide, which is how can our team support you? So as you recall a few slides ago, we had a ton of activities that were listed on there. It's like a menu of options. But these are 4 different work-based learning activities that I'm going to share with you that I like to call resume builders. So if you're someone who is either a changing career or is just now getting started in a new career or industry field, these are 4 different activities that I highly recommend you to consider. The first one is job shadowing. And job shadowing is an experience where you're observing professionals at work. Typically, these can be anywhere from 4 hours all the way up to 16 hours. But they're not more than 2 days. Usually it's just like a quick in and out of the workplace. So right now, because of COVID and a lot of the restrictions around social distancing, job shadowing opportunities are not as readily available as they normally would be. But hopefully in the winter and in the spring, this is an activity that you can engage in. And Isabel here is actually, you know, pioneering a lot of our programs for work-based learning. And one of them is we are trying our best to develop a spring break job shadowing program. And so with that program, the intention is that any student who wants to engage in this will have the opportunity to apply and then participate in like 4-hour job shadowing or 8-hour, depending on their availability. And this is entirely open to, of course, our international students. And so more to come on that. We will be in communication with Rosa to keep her in the loop and so that we ensure that these opportunities are being promoted to all of you. But again, I love job shadowings because if you are someone who doesn't know exactly what type of internship you want to pursue, a job shadowing experience can be a low time commitment experience that will either, you know, validate that, yes, this is the industry and the field that I want to pursue, or maybe it's going to make you question, right? Like, I'm not too sure that those are duties and projects that I want to necessarily engage in. So I highly recommend job shadowing, multiple job shadowings, especially when you're still in college. A second work-based learning activity is mentorship. We know that no matter what age you are, how many years you've been in the field, we all need to benefit from mentorship, especially because as we're developing ourselves as professionals, we need new advice, right? We need to receive new information. We need to make different decisions. And so whenever we have mentors, we're really able to benefit from folks who are more experienced in their field, maybe people who are in a particular scenario that you are currently in and you don't know exactly what decision to make. It's really important to just find yourself mentors. There's no limit to them, but I would say on average, we all try to get 2 to 3 mentors for different things, right? One mentor could be for academics and to ensure that you're achieving on that end. Another mentor could be career related, right? So that you're getting insider information on what your industry looks like, what type of skills you need to develop so that you can put yourself in a more competitive standing. And then maybe another mentor could just be a life mentor, someone that you can talk about situations with, you know, some challenges maybe that you may be facing and how you can overcome those. So there isn't like a black and white situation. We all need mentors for different reasons, but they definitely play a crucial role in our career success. So that's another area where I highly recommend you to look into. And I'm happy to share that at PCC, the Freeman Center is working really hard with the foundation to create an alumni mentorship program. So through this program, which I hope is going to also launch in the spring, if the trains are running on time, is all of you will also be able to participate in this mentorship program and hopefully be linked with an alumni who is in the industry that you're trying to pursue and get your foot in the door into. The third experience here is volunteering. Volunteering is any activity where you're giving your time for community service. A lot of organizations, especially nonprofit organizations, provide these opportunities. And one thing that I will share, and I'm just gonna pop this last one up, which is our big one, which is the internships. This is why we're all here, right? But what I really wanted to share is that volunteer experiences can sometimes look very similar to internship experiences. And so just keep in mind that organizations and companies sometimes use words interchangeably, right? They may be promoting an opportunity as a volunteer opportunity, but if maybe myself or Dr. Shidiak were reviewing that description, we would tell you, actually, this is an internship experience. So just know that if you ever come across a description and it seems like you don't know exactly what it is, come talk to us. We're happy to vet these experiences. I mean, I've had situations where a student thinks that they're participating in a volunteer, but then I read between the lines and I tell them, hey, actually, this is an internship, and therefore you should enroll in a course. So just keep that in mind. Volunteering and internships are very similar. And whenever you meet with us to have those conversations, we can talk about how we can reach out to the organization to either change the vocabulary that they're using, or how to make these projects more intentional so that they match with your program, right? So that you are contributing to your community, but also developing skill sets that are going to help build your resume for your future career. And then lastly, with the internships, this is defined as any work experience where you have agreed to work for a limited period of time. Internships can be paid or unpaid, but we at PCC are really happy to share that we have these internship courses, which Dr. Kimberly Shadiak is going to talk a little bit more about later in the slides. But we're here to support you, so just know if any of these 4 are of interest to you, or maybe 2 or 3, or all of them, just come talk to us and then we will help you get connected. I'm going to pass it over to Isabel now to tell you a little bit about how you can get involved here at PCC.
So there are a few different ways, and the first is going to be by scheduling an appointment with us, right? So you can do that by reaching out to Stephanie, our only missing member today. I promise she'll be back, but you can reach out to her at slopez45@pasadena.edu. Make sure you write that down. All you need to do is let us know what your first and last name is, your student ID number, and what kind of needs you have. So some of them might be, like Jackie just said, all 4 of those categories that we talked about, right? So just give us a few details so we know how to best schedule you in our system. You can also register for workshops and events. This is my favorite because it sometimes takes a little bit of time to, get to meet with us. So in the meantime, you can always drop into one of our workshops or different events that we have going on. And Jackie's going to navigate us to our webpage here.
Thank you, Isabel. So if you were to go to our home page, and now I'm realizing that I actually need to do a new share. So bear with me, everyone. Let's see here. Hopefully you're all able to see my new screen. Okay, perfect. Let's see here. So if you were to go to our home page, which is the Freemen Center page, the easiest way to access that is by going to pasadena.edu/career center, and it takes you to this home page. If you want to register for an event or a workshop, you have to scroll down and then press on this tab here that is a little hidden, but it's called Workshops and Events. So you go directly onto there, and then you will see a list of upcoming topics ranging from, set yourself up for success is essentially a workshop where you get introduced to actually everything that we're talking about today. So all of the different work-based learning activities that you can engage in to help develop and strengthen your resume. You can sign up for a resume building workshop. For example, there's this really, this is a different one, which is coping with career anxiety during COVID-19. This was developed by our career counseling team to really help you develop the coping skills to really overcome some of these challenges that are happening because of COVID-19. We have Acing the Interview, which is interviewing skills workshop, and then Landing the Internship, which we dive even deeper into recommendations for building you a strong resume, recommendations for interviewing, what do you do after your interview, right? And then things like that. So there's a wealth of opportunities here. If you want to register, all you need to do is click on the link. This is actually very similar to the events page that I believe the International Student Center has in their homepage. The only, I guess, thing that I wanted to really bring up today is that when you do register, it's going to take you to this cute little box here. And after you've inserted your PCC Lancer credentials, the word appointment is going to be showing up because this is the main system that we use for our appointments. However, if you clicked on that link for an event, you're still on track to register for the event. So just go ahead and insert your information, click continue, and then it'll provide you with a list of event dates that you want to register for. So that's really what I wanted to share here. To make sure that you don't get discouraged if you go to the website and then you see that it's signing you up for an appointment. It's actually signing you up for the workshop. So back to this homepage, how to get involved. If there are any questions about how to navigate the website, please do reach out to us. We're happy to walk you through it. Our website has been a work in progress for the past 12 months. And so things are constantly changing, and we know that it can get a bit confusing, but we're happy to help you.
Yay, diversity series. So this is my pride and joy right now, which is why I'm so excited. But this semester, we are welcoming a brand new program to the Freeman Career Center, which is our diversity series. And the whole point of the series is to make sure that our students know that there are diverse folks in the workforce who have different experiences than the majority here. So we want to make sure that we provide some space for everyone to explore all of those different identities. Even if you don't identify with some of these identities, I would definitely encourage you to join them, just to give us some perspective about what other folks are experiencing, and maybe there's something that we can relate to, right? This month, we'll be having our Trabajo con Corazón, which is translated to working with soul or with heart. You can translate it loosely to working with purpose. But this one will be for our Latinx population specifically on how to navigate the professional workplace as a Latinx person or someone who identifies. Next month and in the following months, we'll be having some of the following, which is beyond the disability, being Native at work, women in the lead, which we're also very excited for, code switching for our Black community, and then more than a minority for our Asian Pacific Islander students. We do plan on hosting a few additional ones, like an LGBTQIA+ in June, and perhaps we're hoping to have one for international students where we can bring panelists who maybe also were international students and now have, succeeded and accomplished the goals that they set out when they came to study here in the US. And social media. So I want to ask actually really quick for those of you who are still connected on here, who goes on social media on a day-to-day basis? Drop me a little thumbs up in the chat or do a little reaction really quickly in the chat. If you do, and you are like me, you want to make sure you follow us on social media, whether that be on LinkedIn, if you already have a LinkedIn, and if you don't, we can also help you with that. It can also be through Facebook, but my favorite, my new addition here is going to be the PCC Freemen Center which is PCC Freeman Career Instagram account. And on there, we're going to be going live every so often. We'll have updates of what workshops are available. So, you know, if you don't have us bookmarked already in your web browser, make sure you follow us on Instagram. And that way you can kind of stay in touch with us every time you log in. You'll see updates from us. Sometimes we'll be sharing some tips and tricks, skills that, thank you, Anastasia, skills that we are seeing that employers want from our students, and just more tidbits, make it fun, right? So hopefully you'll follow us on here and stay connected with us.
Sorry about that, everyone. My mouse was disappearing from my screen. But yeah, that's wonderful, Isabel. And another cool thing that we're trying to really push forward is do student spotlights on our social media. So for our students who maybe they're, you know, just MVPs because they keep coming back to the Freemen Center and using our services, or maybe you are someone who applied to an internship and got hired. We're trying to do those spotlights on the social media, of course, with your approval, as we would need you to sign a photo release form and then provide a really nice portrait. But we highly encourage you to get connected. This is just another way to kind of stay in touch, especially now that we are virtual. And we don't always want to just use email. We get it, right? Maybe you just want to send us a quick direct message on Instagram, or maybe a message on LinkedIn. We actually encourage you to do that, because at that point you are practicing your social networking skills. And so at this point, we're going to turn it over to Dr. Kimberly Shediak to talk a little bit about, not a little bit, quite a lot about the internship enrollment process. And if you have any questions, because, you know, this is really the reason why we're here today, is to learn more about the internship course, feel free to drop your questions in the chat. Isabel and I are here, and we'll try to answer any questions as Dr. Kimberly Shediak is facilitating this portion.
Great, thank you so much. This is such great information, so valuable, really exciting to see everything that we're doing here at the Freeman Center. So the internship enrollment process. So as we've been discussing here today, we do offer paid and unpaid internship courses. So in essence, we can really support pretty much any internship that you may receive through our courses. So one thing to note is right now, we typically use the Business 70 courses, BUS 70A and BUS 70B, if you're looking on the schedule. Those are the courses that we use to support the internships. Now, you will see these start to expand on the schedule as well across different departments and divisions within the college. But just know that those business internships, even though it does have the BUS prefix, it can be used to support any subject. So just know that it does not necessarily have to be an internship focused in the field of business. And the units, we can support anything from half of a unit all the way up to 6 units. And I can tell you exactly how many units your internship would be. It really depends on whether or not it's paid versus unpaid, how many hours per week, and then how many weeks the internship is. So it sounds a little complicated, but I promise that I can get you exactly what those units would be as we narrow down the details with your employer. So what do you do, basically? So once you secure your internship, the best thing to do is to email me, and you'll see my email there on the screen. And I will respond with questions related to what are the start and end dates of your internship? Is it paid or unpaid? What are the hours per week that you will be working? And I know sometimes this isn't exact, especially in the beginning. You may say, well, it could be 20 to 30 hours per week. So just give me as much detail as you can, and I'll work with you to narrow it down. The name of the organization where you'll be interning, and then any contact information for whoever that site supervisor is. If you can give me their name, email, and phone number for that person that you're technically going to be reporting to. And then again, once you get me all of that information, I will respond back to you and let you know how many units it will be on the schedule. And then once we agree on all of the details, what I do is actually get it added to the schedule for you. And then I get you cleared to enroll. and I give you the information and the steps on how to do that. So this process usually takes, 1 to 2 days. So the soonest you know your information for your internship, let me know, and we'll get the process going. But I also want you to know that we can add internships at any point during the semester. So, don't worry if it's, the first 2 weeks of the semester and you think, oh no, is the drop add period going to be over? Don't even worry about that. You can contact me October 1st and say, you have an internship starting, October 5th, and we will work it out. So please contact me anytime. And this also goes for the intersessions, so winter and summer. Just know that we are very flexible and we will support your internship, paid or unpaid, at any point throughout, the calendar year. Okay, you can go ahead to the next slide. Great. So then in your internship, you will have a course in Canvas. And this isn't like an actual course like your other classes. It's really more of a hub where you will have information and you will have assignments, but again, not like an actual course where you have exams and things related to that. So don't get stressed out thinking your internship course is going to, have a whole bunch of stuff that you have to study for. You have other classes for that. This is really, I want you to think of it as more of a hub to support what you're learning in your actual internship, because that's where your time is going to be focused. It's really a place for first you acquire different documents that we need for your internship, things and evaluation as well. And as far as assignments, it's mostly related to things like written reflections, things really related to your specific internship. And I can also work with you to create assignments that are more meaningful to you. So if you tell me, I have a current student now who his internship is really focused on 2 different subject areas. So it's almost 2 internships in one. And so instead of doing a final written reflection on one area, he would rather have 2 separate types of projects. So I'm working with him on that just to do something that's meaningful to him. So please know that this is flexible based on what will be most valuable to you. So please feel free to give myself feedback anytime if you say, this really doesn't work for what I'm doing. I'd rather do, a project related to this other area. That's totally fine. Also, the Canvas shell has different resources related to interning in general, different skills for any type of career. So resources that you can use during your internship and beyond. So really that's your hub where you can go and find resources for your internship, submit information, submit documents, submit the assignments that you'll have, questions, and also help the project for your internship. And I'm currently doing specific to their organization, and I'm getting a message here. Sorry, it muted itself. Can you all hear me now? Okay, great, thank you. So again, just feel free to let me know if you need help with anything in your internship as well. It may be a project related to the organization that you're working in, and maybe you just want me to review it with you or meet with you regarding feedback. So really the internship course in Canvas is not a typical course, is really the information I want to pass on here. It's much more of a support system in a way that I will be there for you or anyone who's actually teaching the course, because again, you may have a different professor related to your subject area. So just know that that Canvas shell is a place that you'll go throughout the internship to find information, to submit information, and also to contact and communicate with the instructor. So again, there's my email. Please feel free to email me anytime, now or throughout the year as you have questions, if you need help. Please know that I'm always a resource here for you. And with that, does anyone have any questions currently on the internship process, enrollment for the internship, units, hours, the course shell? I know it's a lot at once. Doesn't look like. Doesn't look like it. Well, please feel free to email me anytime, and I'm also happy to
Thank you, Dr. Kubiak. Yeah, I highly recommend you to stay in touch with Dr. Shidiak. She is an amazing resource, and she is our lead faculty for these courses. So if you are looking into doing an internship, and you've already landed one, there's actually no need to kind of like go through us. Just contact her directly, and then she will help you get enrolled in that course. But if you haven't landed an internship yet and you want to develop the tools, maybe you want to search for an internship, then go ahead and reach out to us at WorkBased Learning in the Freemen Center. And like I mentioned earlier in the slide, you're welcome to contact any of us. We are all here to help you. But regarding the course specifically, I would recommend getting in touch with Dr. Shidiak. And for appointments, workshops, events, you have Isabel's contact information here. You have my contact information here as well. And in an earlier slide, you got Stephanie Lopez contact information. So whoever you feel most comfortable with, just reach out to one of us, and we're here to help you. And I think we have like a good 10 minutes left in this hour. So if you have any questions, I encourage you to drop them in the chat, or maybe unmute yourself and feel free to kind of share here. You're welcome, Nicholas. I'm glad that you were able to join us today. Any questions? I'm going to give it a few minutes, only because in previous workshops, sometimes we get questions come towards the end. Thank you all so much. It was a pleasure being connected. All right. Okay, Rosa, well, it looks to me like there are no questions, but we will all definitely stay in touch. If we receive any inquiries our way, we will loop you in, Rosa. We'll also loop you in, Kimberly, just so that we can centralize that communication piece. Thank you, Rosa, for having us today and for coordinating this awesome workshop. Please let us know if we could do this again, maybe later this semester, or whenever you seem fit. We're happy to be to conduct these and really get in touch with our students.
Thank you for hosting this. This is great because the students will really take advantage of this opportunity. They have been waiting for this.
Yeah, of course. Thank you all so much. Let's see.